Hello artsy crafty people, how are you doing? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're brand new here. In today's video, I'm gonna do some Sharpie art on a giant canvas. I mean, it's pretty big. In case you missed it, on Wednesday, I posted a really awesome wood burning tutorial. Go ahead and check that out in the description box. I do post a brand new video every single Friday and sometimes other days. So if you wanna join the family, I'd love to have you here. All you have to do is click the red subscribe button and ring that bell to turn notifications on. That way you always know when I'm posting. Otherwise, you can follow me on social media because I always let you guys know right when I upload. Can you tell I'm so excited to get this video edited and posted? Without further ado, let's get into the artwork. Introducing my Sharpie collection. Actually, not really, because I have shown these in other Sharpie art videos of mine. But hey, I guess if you're new to my channel, here are all of my Sharpies. So these are all the colors I do have to work with, obviously. I find that charting your art supplies like this is very helpful, but I am going to be drawing with them on canvas, so I am going to test them on the back as well, since they may show their color a little bit differently on canvas than paper. I decided to do a light sketch of the first shape that I decided to put on here, and you could see me erasing a little bit. That's because I want the lines to be as light as they possibly can so they don't show through the marker. I wasn't sure what to talk about today, so I did ask you guys over on my Instagram page what the voiceover should be. As you can see, the majority said to kind of discuss the art process, give tips on what I'm doing, how you guys can do that, and also just be random and mix it up. This part's pretty self-explanatory though. I started with kind of a red orangey pinky salmon. It's like dark, I don't know, it's a color of its own. Aren't all colors their own? Okay, so after doing that reddish outline, I went in with a light orange. Then I moved on to yellow. And as I continue, I am actually not doing the rainbow. So instead of green, I did a fuchsia color and then a light purple, followed by blue. The blue will be here soon, but I chose to do this shape because honestly, I could not think of what I wanted to put on the canvas whatsoever. I was totally lost. I was drawing a blank. I wouldn't say that it was art block, but I just had no idea. So advice that I have for those of you who don't know where to start, just start somewhere. I'm not even kidding. I'm gonna draw this random spiky blob type thing. I thought of a hedgehog at first because me and my hedgehog obsession. You know, by the way, if any of you are in the Ohio, Michigan type area and have a hedgehog that I can pet and hold, please let me know. That's on my bucket list and I would be very, very happy. And here I just kind of jumped ahead. So we are in the future, actually the past. This is so confusing because, you know, this is already filmed, but I decided to sketch a girl's head. No particular girl, I just looked at different reference images and I'm like, hey, I'm not that great at drawing faces, so I just went for something very, very simple, and I think it turned out pretty okay. I'm okay with it. The thing about anatomy that really bothers me when you're learning it is they teach you the proportions of the face as if everyone looks the same. They're like, the eyes should be this distance apart, the lips should stick out like this, the nose should be at this angle, and in all actuality, everyone is so different. While I do believe that learning proportions is very important to have that fundamental base, a foundation of knowledge so you can draw things off the top of your head, I do think that it's also very important to look at the real world and maybe try to draw a photo of someone who doesn't fit those proportions. I really have a thing for including Zentangle-y, doodly elements like mandala type things or mandala. I'd say that my style is very abstract in most cases, but in order to develop my skills, I do want to include more realism, not because I believe that realism is more arty art than abstract. It's just because I feel that it pushes me personally, since I am so comfortable with the abstract doodly stuff that I want to try and do other things as well, if that makes sense. For some reason, and I don't know what this is because I didn't research it, the black Sharpie ink is so much more juicy and just flowy than the colored Sharpie ink for the most part. And I'll show you this a little bit later too, where I'm having trouble getting the color to go down in a non-blotchy manner. The main reason that I wanted to use Sharpies instead of Posca paint pens for this is because I feel like some of my Poscas, just because of the size of them, some of them actually do splatter. Also, I don't have as many Posca colors currently as I do Sharpies. And I feel like, you know, with the Poscas, I also have this fear that the paint is going to run out before I finish the piece. And I know that Sharpies have a ton of ink. So for this canvas, I don't know, I just didn't want to be stressed out. I knew I had multiple colors of many of the different Sharpies, and I could replace them if they did run out of ink. I continued doodling away, putting kind of petally shapes and lines and outlines. I like to, at the very end, when I'm done with the basic bulk shape, put a very dark outline around everything just to kind of give it a border and block it off from the other portions of the canvas that are empty. And in order to make the face stand out even more, I decided that around it, directly around it, I would use more of a muted color palette than I did for that burst at the bottom. So these colors are more pastel than the ones that I used below. One issue that I did have with the really light colors, especially the yellow and a little bit orange and pink as well, is when I would touch the tip to the black outline, a little bit of that black ink would come back off and like smear and smudge into the color. So I kind of made it work by blending it. But yeah, if you're wondering, the yellow doesn't look like pure yellow, and that is why. You then can see I continued with the more bold colors. And here's what I mentioned earlier about some of the colors being really difficult to apply to the canvas in a non-streaky manner. I had to go over the blue so many times. Some of the tips just were not cooperating. It looked like they had like some film on them or that I had worn them down, but it was confusing me because the black marker, which was the most juicy, was like the oldest and was the most worn down, and it worked the best. Sleepy little kitty. My main goal with this composition was to make the person different than the background. This means that I have to get rid of a lot of the white areas and make her mainly the only white on the page, or like the canvas, or the biggest white area on the canvas. So that's why I went around and colored in a lot of the areas black. I am really digging this style. I honestly don't really have an art style. You can have more than one style. I'm mostly indecisive. As you've noticed over the years, I've done so many different arts and crafts on my channel, and I feel like I want to kind of stick to just a few things for a little while, like wood burning, for instance, drawings, and I want to do more canvases like this, maybe with Sharpies, Posca. This piece really makes my heart happy. It's something that I actually would love to make prints of. I've never made prints of anything, but I'd love to step outside of my comfort zone because I've just been so nervous, so scared. I don't know why. I feel like I'm just gonna mess them up is I think like the biggest thing that's holding me back. Before we move on to the background and finish this piece up, I want to thank Alex for sending this really cool sticker and a note to my P.O. box. Thank you. Now let's move on to some watercolor paints. These are so cheap. I think I got them from Michael's. They are kind of honestly a little bit powdery of a formula. I feel like I'm talking about makeup right now. The formula in this lip gloss was so buttery. Okay, anyway, I chose to do watercolor instead of watered down acrylic. One, because it is less effort, and two, because I feel like the colors will be more muted, but also more uniform. With acrylic, I feel like it might like pull up a little bit more, but I know that watercolor is, you know, really easy to manipulate. And here you can see exactly what I mean. They're so easy to blend. So I'm doing a rainbow gradient in a non-actual rainbow order, which is very, very on brand for me. I intentionally wanted the background to be lighter and more muted than all of the Sharpie colors in that middle area. Again, it just helps it really pop. After getting that rainbow wash down and making sure all the colors were blending to my liking, I did just have to do a little bit of touch up because the paint, when it does get over the black Sharpie ink, does kind of make a little chalky area, but that's no big deal. I just put the marker over that again and cleaned up the edges. Here's what it looks like, but it's not finished yet because after watching this back on camera, I realized that on the right-hand side, that blue and purple area of watercolor paint, not the right angle. I did not like how straight across those were. They were supposed to be more diagonal. So I went back and it was so easy to change. I just, added a little bit more water, a little bit more paint, and now it is complete. So if you have recommendations of videos I can watch from other artists here on YouTube of how they do their prints, what printer they use, what printing place they send them off to, please let me know. I really feel like this piece is just so colorful and full of happiness. Leo is so uninterested in everything that I'm saying. Thanks, buddy. Please give this video a big old thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Click the subscribe button and turn post notifications on by ringing the bell. I'll also put some other videos here so you can check them out if you have not yet. I have a wood burning playlist, craft kit testing, and a drawing playlist. So you can check all those out if you're interested. I hope you enjoyed and that I'll see you back here next Friday. Bye!